Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in today to the Core Web Vitals webinar. We're basically just going to talk over Core Web Vitals. A lot of the presentation is quite entry level to medium difficulty. We didn't put anything too advanced in this presentation. Basically, it's just to inform you what is Core Web Vitals, how does it impact your business, etc., etc. Just a quick little rundown of our business, Prosperity Media. We only specialize in SEO. We're on Australia's largest SEO conference, continuously testing and learning with SEO. We take on a low number of clients. Awarded Best Agency in Australia by SEMrush, by an international judging panel. Work with some of the best known marketers in the world. Here's a nice quote from Matthew Barbie over at HubSpot. Work with mainly mid to large businesses. So we're very active for marketplaces, finance, education, etc., etc. Pretty active in the industry of speaking at events and running events as well. But for everyone that came today, what is Core Web Vitals and why are they relevant for your business? So Core Web Vitals is part of Google's page experience update, and it has 3 key parts. And today we're going to talk through all the different parts. There's also other Web Vitals such as mobile friendliness, safe browsing, HTTPS, and non-intrusive parts of the update as well. But this presentation today is mainly going to focus on the Core Web Vitals. So what are the 3 parts of the Core Web Vitals? And we're going to go into each one in detail. So there's LCP, FID, and CLS. So this presentation will cover each one of these Core Web Vitals in detail. Firstly, LCP. What does it stand for? It stands for largest contentful paint, and it measures the time it takes for the largest above the fold content element to load. Everything below 2.5 seconds is considered a good LCP score. Now, you can use tools like GT Metrics to track LCP. GT Metrics is one of the best tools on the market to kind of track the load speed of the website and all the different areas that it involves. We've got some tips here on how to get a better LCP score. So the main aim of this update is for you to get a good score for Google. So the first tip to get a better LCP score is get a better hosting plan. If you're on a shared host, that could be your first issue. So you really want to stop using shared hosts because it can impact the site speed. It is recommended that you get dedicated hosting. The next thing that you want to do is minimize and compress code files. Minimizing removes areas which you do not need. You definitely want to make use of a CDN, such as Cloudflare. So it's highly recommended that you use Cloudflare. You also want to optimize all images when they go onto the website. You don't want to have images going up that are large in file size because that's going to affect your LCP scores on different pages. So always compress images before you upload them to the website. And remember to resize them as well. So yeah, basically, as we've said, LCP, it looks at the largest contentful paint. Anything below 2.5 seconds is a good score for Google. So that's definitely something that you want to start thinking about. Now, the next bit is CLS. So cumulative layout shift. And basically, cumulative layout shifts measures the unexpected layout shifts on a page. So a lot of websites that you'll go to, you might see pop-ups come up above the fold. This can definitely impact the CLS of the website So if you've got pop-ups above the fold or anything that can affect how the website loads, it can definitely impact your CLS scores. This is a great tool that you can use to look at visual stability of the CLS. So it's called deface.dev/tools/layout shift GIF generator. So this will look for any layout shifts on your website. It's a fantastic tool that you can look at on mobile and both desktop as well. Now, the thing is, when you've got a cumulative layout shift, here are some tips on how to get a better score with CLS. So you want to avoid inserting ads and pop-ups above the content. A lot of websites make this mistake where they put content above the fold. If pop-ups are on the exit, they will not implicate your core web vitals. So if you're going to be using pop-ups, try to use exit pop-ups. Don't use pop-ups above the content. If you want to use pop-ups that show quickly, try to delay the load speed of the pop-ups. Also, you always want to add width and height attributes to images. This is definitely something that's recommended from a CLS point of view. And always optimize font delivery. This is one massive area that we see a lot of businesses making mistakes, where they don't optimize font delivery and they run custom fonts on the website. It can definitely impact the scores for Core Web Vitals. The other part of Core Web Vitals is FID, so first input delay. And this basically means the time it takes for the browser to respond to the first user interaction on the website. So some tips here on how to optimize to that. You really want to delay or remove third-party scripts. One big issue that we see a lot of businesses making is where they add multiple scripts to the website, which they don't currently use. If you stop using any sort of tracking or any sort of custom tool that involves scripts running on your website, always remember to remove those scripts because it's going to affect your Core Web Vitals scores. And we've seen businesses that might have 40 scripts running, but out of those 40, they're actually only using like 15, for example. So this can definitely impact your Core Web Vitals. You also want to break up long tasks on the website as well, where you can. The first step for any business is you really want to get Google Search Console installed for your company. So get that active and up and running, get it verified. And you want to monitor Core Web Vitals via this. Google has been developing some really great tools within Google Search Console to track Core Web Vitals. And as you can see here, we've got some fantastic data that they'll tell you. So for this website here, at the moment, it says you have 0 good URLs. So this website needs some optimization work. And the thing is, there's 268 URLs that are currently failing. So the first point of call for anyone after this webinar is to get onto Google Search Console and see how your website is performing for Core Web Vitals within the page experience section. What Google will actually tell you, they'll give you some sample URLs that are having issues. So for this website, you can see that there's 268 poor URLs on mobile and there's 190 poor URLs on desktop. You've got to look at it from both a mobile and a desktop point of view. Now, this is something that a lot of people are asking. How much will Core Web Vitals impact SEO? Google has mentioned that Core Web Vitals will be a ranking factor. So you really have to start optimizing for this. Is it going to be a major ranking factor? It's too early to tell at the moment because it hasn't rolled out yet. So we don't want to speculate too much. But the reasoning that Google has been putting so much work into this and they've been giving so many updates and they've also delayed it. So they've actually delayed the launch of Core Web Vitals. It was meant to roll out in May. Now it's going to roll out sometime in June. So it could roll out in the next few weeks. And if they're saying that it's a ranking factor, it's definitely worth looking into. Another thing that is important to note is there was a webinar with Google recently, and they said that Core Web Vitals, basically, you don't have to reach good for all 3 metrics to get a ranking boost. And you shouldn't micro-optimize after reaching good. So basically, when you see the good score in Google Search Console, you don't want to keep optimizing it to a crazy level. And the interesting thing here is you might be able to get a good score for one of the metrics, such as LCP, which means you might get a ranking boost for that. So that was a very interesting point to come out of that webinar with Google. Another thing that is important to note is search metrics ran some data in the US market, I believe US and UK websites. So they looked at some of the top websites online. And as you can see, 96% of the top websites, they scraped 2 million URLs from some of the top websites online. And you can see that 96% of these websites are not ready yet. So they don't have a good score. Only 4% of those URLs were deemed to be good from a Core Web Vitals point of view. So this is important to note, because if basically 96% of the top websites in the US and UK are not ready for it, in the Australian market, a lot of websites are not ready. So anyone that's listening to this webinar today, you're already at the front line. You're already going to be able to go back to your desk today, or if you're already at your desk, you can start thinking about this stuff and start to optimize for Core Web Vitals, because it's going to be very important for business owners. That's pretty much it. I know we've got a few questions. Looks like they're coming through now. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, please put them up in the chat. We're happy to answer any questions about Core Web Vitals. I know the webinar today was pretty top level. It's basically just to let everyone know what Core Web Vitals is and how you can optimize for it. The other important fact to know, if you're using certain types of CMSs, there is opportunity for optimization. So if you're using WordPress, there's a lot of great tools out there like NitroPack, where you can make use of that, and that can definitely help with the different Core Web Vital optimization on the website. That said though, if you're using Shopify, there is some limitation with optimizing for Core Web Vitals. So definitely have to do everything you can do from a speed optimization point of view. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, please drop them into the chat. Daniel or myself are happy just to answer anything that anyone has. So any burning questions about Core Web Vitals that anyone has, or if anyone's not sure about something, the thing is, Google hasn't released an exact date when it's going to roll out. They just said sometime in June. So yeah. All right, we've just got our first question through from Kartik. He has asked, can you please give me an example of LCP? Most websites have sliders on top, and would this be considered part of LCP? Yes, Kartik, anything that's loading above the fold. So if you see websites that have like video sliders and things like that, that could definitely impact your LCP scores. So anything that's loading on the website, you see people making mistakes with their websites where they'll load up like a 5 megabyte image to the top slider as well, and they don't even optimize those images. That's definitely going to affect your Core Web Vitals. So that is definitely something to think about. Start thinking about how you can optimize for excessive resource usage on the website. So yeah, a lot of small businesses do make the mistake where they upload a lot of content that is heavy on resources. So you definitely want to optimize for that, Kartik. Try to optimize the images. If it's a WordPress-based client, there's like I said, there's tools like NitroPack where you can optimize for this type of images. Emma has come in and said, what size would you recommend for compressing images to? Emma, that's really that really depends on the quality of the image. So basically, if you have like a high resolution image, you sometimes you want to try to compress it a little bit. I mean, there's tools online like Squoosh.app is a great tool for compressing images that you can use. If like most of these tools usually compress them like 80 to 90%, but you have to also be cautious that you don't want to compress it too much because it can affect the clarity. So if you can get it down by about 80 to 90% in terms of resources, that's usually a good starting point. But yeah, like any type of images that you're putting on your website, you definitely want to compress them. But yeah, as Daniel said in the chat as well, like you can look at GT metrics, and that will show you basically when the website loads any resources that are causing like load speed issues or issues with LCP or anything like that. So yeah, definitely check that out. Yeah, Daniel's just saying in the chat, so look into your Google Search Console and understand what the majority of your users are viewing on your pages. So mobile doesn't need a 1900px 1900px wide image, whereas desktop user having a 900px hero image may be appropriate. Refer to your own data to basically understand the behavior and make a decision on the dimension that works for your audience. So yeah, the thing is, as Daniel's saying, you don't want to go crazy with optimizing for Core Web Vitals. If the images on your homepage are going to be really poor quality, then like it might not be worth going too hard with the optimization. So yeah. And as Daniel said, PageSpeed Insight now shows you what the LCP element is. You can use Chrome DevTools to identify LCP. Otherwise, there's GT metrics that will show you similar visual format. So definitely make use of GT metrics. It's one of the best best tools on the market for this. Anna's just said she's tested the face.dev tool on her CLS. It's in green and it's 0.02. I think that's fine, Anna. If that tool's pulling up the green score, usually that means it's all right. When it pulls up like red scores and it shows that your CLS is shifting quite heavily, that's when it's bad. A lot of websites that have pop-ups and things like that coming up on the website, yeah, you want to try to minimize that. So if you've got pop-ups coming up above the content, yeah, you want to try to ensure that they're exit pop-ups. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of other questions. Some of these we might actually get back to the people because these are people that we know. So we'll touch base with those at a later date. But yeah, I mean, thank you for everyone for coming today. I hope this was informative and you're able to pick up some new tips about Core Web Vitals. We appreciate everyone's time, and we'll send this recording around to anyone that missed out or anyone from anyone's team that missed out. We'll definitely send it around. So thank you everyone for coming in today. Hope it helped. Thank you.